All right, hello, welcome to a new video. We're going to do this problem called Find the Highest Altitude, number 1732. It is an easy problem LeetCode, so let's go ahead and get into it. Yeah. So, there is a biker going on a road trip. The road trip consists of n+1 points. Wait, there's a biker going on a road trip. The road consists of n+1 points at different altitudes. Okay. The biker starts his trip at point 0 with altitude equal to 0. We're given an integer array gain, named gain of length n, where gain at I is the net gain in altitude between points I and I+1. Okay. For all points, okay. Return the highest altitude of a point. I'm kind of confused actually. Um, the road trip consists of n+1 points at different altitudes. The biker starts at point 0 with, okay. So we're given an integer array gain of length n, where gain at I is the net gain in altitude between points I and 1. Okay. Return the highest altitude of a point. Return the highest altitude of a point? Okay, so you're given gain, length of n, where gain at I is the net gain in altitude between points. Oh, between points I and I+1? Between I and I+1. I still don't really get it. Let's look at the output, right? I mean, at the examples. So I'm pretty sure that they will give me an example. So input, so the gain is -5. So that's like the net gain in altitude between points I and I+1. I don't really get that. How is net gain between points I and I+1? But whatever. Okay, so altitudes are 0, -5, 4. Then 1, 1/6. The highest is 0.1, which 0.1 is, wait, are they saying that, oh, like the actual like gain? Okay. They confuse me on the way that they say that gain at I is the net gain in altitude between points I and I+1. Can't they just say like it's the net gain where you get from going to I? Like I don't know, I don't really like that wording. It's really confusing. Okay, so let me read it. So there's a biker going on a road trip. The road consists of n+1 points at different altitudes. The biker starts his trip at point 0 with altitude equal to 0. You're given an integer array gain of length n, where gain at I is a net gain altitude going to that point. Return the highest altitude of a point. Okay. Okay, so I like this now. I like this now. Okay. So I think I get it. I think I get it. It's not really making sense to me that much, but when I go through it, hopefully it will. So we know that our input is just an array called gains, which is just int array, and then our output is going to be integer. It's going to be highest altitude, highest net altitude, which is just in an int. And then to note that we start at 0. Start at 0. But the gains at 0 is equal to first net gain. Okay. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah, that makes total sense. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go through some examples to kind of get into my head of if I do understand this or not. So let's say example 1, right? We're given gains as 1, 2, and 3. Okay. And so at this point, we start at 0, right? But then we add +1, then +2, which is 3, and then +3, which is 6. So we can say that the highest gain is going to be our highest altitude is 6. So that's the output. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. So let's say we have negatives now. So let's say we have 10. Um, we have 10, 10. Um, and yeah, 10, 10, and then 10. Okay. So, um, so we start at 0, right? So 0 plus 10, that's 10. So that's already a candidate for like the highest altitude we've seen so far. And then negative 10, right? That's 0. And then 10 again, which is 10. So actually, let's make this 11. Right, 11. So then in this case, 11 would be the highest altitude we get. So we've turned that. Um, and then I guess do have some questions. I should have some questions before. So some questions are, what is the min size of gains, right? Min size of gains is 1. And then I don't think the values of gains really matters to me that much. So I wouldn't ask that question, but they do specify it in the constraints. Um, so yeah, I think I'm kind of comfortable with the understanding of this problem. So let's go ahead and kind of get some tools to kind of help us solve this problem, which is the matching phase I like to call it. So we're also gonna have like a sum value, uh, sum variable. It's gonna hold the sum, and then I guess we can use the max function or method, whatever it's called. And then we can use some if statements. We don't really need if statements actually. Just keep doing that. And then a for loop. I think those are all the tools that we need. So let's go ahead and kind of plan it out. Um, so first off, I want to initialize var. So I want to initialize sum is equal to 0, or res is equal to 0 actually. No, sum is equal to 0. And then we need a res is equal to negative 100. I'll just do negative infinity, right? Um, no, it's actually 0. 0 is res equal to sum, right? Um, And then I want to go through a for loop, right? So for I in range going through the length of gains. I want to say that gain. I want to add to the sum every time we go. So sum gets the gains added to it. So gains at I, right? And then we're going to check if res is equal to either res is equal to the max of res or sum at this point. And then that should work. Um, it'll work with a negative. So yeah, and then in the end, I think we just return res. It's pretty simple. This looks like it works. So it worked for this one because 0, 1, and then 2, okay, and so on. So yeah, and altitude starts at 0, so it's awesome. So we don't really need to worry about like starting res at negative infinity or whatever. And I'm pretty sure I can just copy and paste this into my code and it actually works. So gain is not defined. Oh, it's gain. Accepted. And it works. It's pretty bad. Why is it? Is there a better solution? Or maybe no. People just did what I did, but I don't know. It's just RNG, I guess. Yeah, it's just RNG. Yeah, it's just RNG. So that's fine. So yeah, that works. And yeah, that's pretty much it.